Okay, welcome to Site and Night. This is our second installation, and this time around we're going to be doing Podcamp Halifax's website for their upcoming conference in January.
January, yeah. For those of you who don't know, Podcamp is an unconference, which basically means an informal conference. Anyone can sign up in one of the time slots to present, which will be available on the site. And the audience is also encouraged to participate, and it's really informal and kind of fun. So it's a really good time. It's going to be in January, and yeah.
I guess that's about it. So we got to go through the phases. It's going to take forever. We got to plan, design, develop, and launch the whole thing here in a couple nights, and we're going to try and film it. And we're going to try and keep you informed, keep you in the loop, and hopefully give you an insight to how these kind of things go together.
Yeah, right now it's set up on WordPress.com, which is the WordPress hosted version, so we're going to move it over to their own custom hosting and do another custom WordPress install, so it's going to be really sweet.
Cool.
Right on.
Here we go.
Yo, ninja, any motherfucking icy as only duck when I move up on the icy.
Okay, so we're just doing some basic planning here. It's nothing too massive. You can kind of go to town with the planning phase. If you're doing something that's business oriented, especially an e-commerce site, you really want to get down to the details and the flow and stuff. But for this, it's really just informative and make it easy for people to sign up and find the schedules and stuff. So, we're doing a really similar layout to what they've got now. We'll have sort of an upper nav. It's really slick. Kind of doing a 3-column probably layout on the home page, maybe some type of call out here, and your basic info. That's going to just be real simple. Probably want some social media type stuff. We'll make a more detailed list of that, of what we want to do there, but otherwise, aside from the main site template, a cool homepage, and a blog, it's really pretty straightforward.
Okay, so design. That's a bit tough because I don't actually have a design yet, and as it turns out, setting up lights and cameras takes a little more time than we thought it would, but that's okay. And we sat down with the client and talked about what they wanted to achieve in terms of Podcamp sites. And we took a look at some other ones, and there's some good ones and there's some bad ones. Podcamp Toronto's okay. Podcamp Montreal is actually really kind of hip and trendy, and I think that's where we would want to go. So essentially we want to do the same thing. We want to create a really nice aesthetic, and at the same time we want to brand the hell out of it and do something sort of local and homey in Nova Scotian with hopefully as little amount of lighthouses as possible, and I think that's where we're going to go. So I'm going to disappear here for a little while, and we're going to get some work done, and hopefully when we come back we can go over the template that we're going to apply to Ian's well-drawn wireframe, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ian Conrad. Cold fingers slowing down your typing? Here's a tip. Try dipping them in some warm water, moderately to heavily salted. Alright, we're back, working on Podcamp Halifax. We've solidified a bit more of the plan and the wireframes to some more detail, and now we're ready for Nick's awesome design work.
Yeah, so, it's been a little while. We spent some hours on it, but yeah, we came up with this design now. It was really important when we first talked to Ryan about the Podcamp website that we kind of communicated how important and kind of, cool the venue was that they were working with. So we came up with this design, utilizing sort of a huge, header, bold type. Everything's very clear and very tight. And we kind of knew right from the get-go. There's a lot of information here, but it's very simple, in terms of how we're going to divvy it down. So the site didn't get too complicated. We just, we have some sections, a blog, and all the typical kind of stuff. So, it's looking good. we're pumped on it. It took a little more time than we wanted to, but of course that's always how it goes. And yeah, that's about it. I think we're ready to cut.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, we're back. We're into development now. The very magical part of the process where all the JPEGs we send you in emails as mock-ups get turned into websites. It's kind of a funny term when you hear people say cutting a website. It comes from, there's a tool in Photoshop, the splice tool. It's been around for years. I forget which version. Essentially what it does, what it would let you do is cut a mock-up into a table format, old HTML tables. And those became no good, so we moved to CSS. So the term still applies, but there's still some fundamentals there. Like we have to take a layered Photoshop file, pull it apart, and put it back together in functioning HTML with raw type and buttons and hover states and all the fun things clients like, and that's what we're about to do now.
Yep, so I'm going to be doing that in WordPress. It's what we use most often. It's a really powerful blogging platform, as you probably know, but you know, over the years it's become a really powerful CMS or content management system as well that a lot of people prefer to have for their entire website. So it's really awesome. It's open source, very flexible. A couple tips. I'd say the first time I ever used WordPress for development, I took the default template and tried to work the design into that and caused some headaches. So now the general tip is to, you know, code it in HTML and CSS static from scratch and then work the WordPress into it from there. It's way easier to debug your code and everything that way. It's you know, much more straightforward process from our perspective anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, really, it's it's kind of, you go through it a few times and it works on the real sort of like, you know, header, not index, header like page footer format.
Yeah.
With your post types and stuff like that. So I mean, pulling HTML apart isn't too bad.
Yeah, and you know, for what we've got here, we're going to have a cool home page, a regular sub-page template that'll be applied for the other pages, and then the blogging component. So it's pretty straightforward, and it'll be pretty fun.
I can't wait.
Alright, so I think we're done. It's looking really good.
Yeah, it looks great. We got it into HTML, it's in WordPress. Everything's all together and okay. Do we test it? Have we tested it in like IE? Have we tested it in IE 6?
No.